it does a thing, and then it apparently didn't do a thing.
All right, well, this is a question and answer session, or AMA style.
Now it says we're live. All right, hopefully that does it again.
Ask us anything. Anything certainly 0 through 4 motorsport related, anything automotive, car related, any long-standing feuds about what's this better than this or that, or disagreements. We're happy to chime in on.
Challenging industry norms.
Myths, conventional wisdom, which is neither conventional nor wise. We take a no BS approach to how we respond. So Nate and I both have 20 years of experience doing this stuff, and so we can tap into that, and we're happy to. And sometimes we're still learning stuff every day. So, all right. So yeah, put your questions into whatever screen you're
whatever
on.
Screen is up for you at the moment.
If YouTube's actually up, use that one.
It says it is now again.
And then we have your questions are going into a queue here that we can. We're not TikToking or bumbling or anything like that. So
You're not.
All right, let's get into it. Let's just get an update right out of the way here.
Oh boy.
The CREC updates. Will it support stage 1 or stage 2 single or
so
series?
CREC, for those that don't know, is the late 3-liter supercharged motor that's
C7.
C7, A6, A7, and actually in Europe it was in some of the really late B chassis, so the S4s and S5s.
Mm-hmm. So I know it's one of the many things that's being worked on. I don't think we have any real discrete.
No, we've got a couple of hotter irons on in the development queue ahead of it.
Yeah.
But it is certainly on our radar and is something we will tackle.
So yeah, unfortunately no date.
Nothing concrete right now.
But it is part of. I mean, and on the software side, sometimes when you work on one thing, it applies to other things, and then sometimes instead of working on the one thing, you work on a different project, knowing that once that project's done, the work can apply back.
There's a lot
to
of
that
carryover,
other one.
yeah, and we try and plan for that as much as possible. It's like what unit of work can you do that's going to give you the most reward across as many different platforms. So
in general, the work and activity of the engineering departments moves everything forward typically, in many cases. So.
Thankfully, a lot of these are, the ECUs and the work involved is similar enough across the platforms we're working on that we can share a lot of IP across them.
Have you heard of the failures regarding rocker arms for B9 S4 S5? Seems like this is a pretty big issue on this new motor. I'll be honest, I have not heard of this until now. Any of you guys heard of this?
I've heard of 2 instances of this.
And what happened?
The rocker arms were failed.
It broke, or
like the lifter went flat, or on what was
information.
It's
okay. So I'll say this is not a big issue because none of us have really heard about it. It could be an issue, and we need to find out more about it. But no, this is not a widespread big issue.
I've also heard of wastegates failing on the stock turbos.
Yeah. I have heard of that.
Yeah.
But no, I guess we'll keep an eye on it, and
a lot of these are still very new, and maybe it's all getting handled by warranty work for the most part. Who knows? But a lot of these cars are tuned now too, so you'd think we'd hear about.
But no, we have many hundreds of customers running our tuning right now, beating the crap out of their cars, and we haven't heard of anything like that. So. What are your thoughts on the new Garret Turbos for the MQB 2.0 platform? Better than EQT? Will you support them? Nobody really knows yet. They're brand new. I mean, they're Garret Turbos, so they're good turbos.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to doubt the quality of EQT turbos. They've
been pretty proven.
A good
they've
reputation.
Got a good track record now.
We're tuning on them right now. On one of their turbos.
Yep.
We may eventually support it. I wish these would have come out 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, there's still a lot of life in that platform.
Yeah.
So we'll evaluate as we come along. One thing that's nice from a engineering perspective is it's a OEM level effort. From a data standpoint. So you end up with all the compressor maps, the flow maps, the data that you're never going to get out of an aftermarket
from
or
a smaller
hybrid.
tuner.
Smaller.
I would caution people. every company came out that day saying that they're going to support it and release tunes for it, and I wouldn't hold your breath. Everyone kind of jumped on the bandwagon. We haven't. I know we did a post just kind of asking people what they thought about it, but it could be a year or two before anyone actually has tuning support for these. So yeah, I would be cautious, because there's I don't believe anyone has anything for them yet, other than the fact that the turbos are available.
Yeah, I don't know if there were some early units that were sent out to some.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But one of our competitors, it looked like they just jumped on and said, "We're supporting it. We're going to release tunes for this." Like after they found out about it, like everyone else. So I wouldn't. I would be cautious.
Yep.
Initially, we'll be releasing support for EQT turbos. We already have support for the Lobo 460.
Yeah.
The R460. So.
Yep. And we'll be doing, expanded map sensor support and supplemental fueling support. So then once all that base, effort is done, rolling in the, these various turbos is not that much of an effort, calibration wise.
So someone made a comment that as far as the rocker arm issue, and basically the bearings fail in the rocker arm, and it's something related to 2017 production dates, possibly early 2018. And then there's been a revision, so it sounds like this should be something that would get warrantied, but you would want to make sure you take your car to the dealership, with stock programming as much as you can, But again, we have a 2018, probably early 2018. I don't know. I just haven't heard of it until now. So, what numbers does B8 Stage 2 Plus tune put out on 91 and 93? Well, we haven't released that.
No, we don't have that one. That's a combination. I mean, it's a little more than stage 2. The problem is you become very octane limited. So you get a little more mid range. I want to say top end's pretty much the same on those. Maybe you get a little bit more. And stage 2 plus is also a tougher one to quantify. What pulleys? What's your idea of a stage 2 plus? So,
there is some.
It gets into a lot more gray area.
Mm-hmm.
I will say if you're planning to run 91 and 93. I wouldn't go much higher than a 179 pulley lower. You're not really going to get anything out of it other than pulling more timing and making more heat. So you might get a little bit more torque here and there, but it's not worth the trade-off in my opinion.
Someone's asking, where did it go?
Oh boy.
Basically, if I want to upgrade from APR to your tuning, do you guys offer a discount? Yes.
Yep. Yeah, we have a tuning
do have
there it is.
Yes, there it is. Just shoot an email to tuning@034motorsport.com, and we will be happy to make you a great offer for switching.
Yep. And that's not just that's any other
for anything.
Yeah. If you can verify you're the owner of competitive tuning.
Except for a GB4.
It has to be a tune, not a hardware, not a box.
Yeah, or it can't be like a sprint booster.
Yep.
Yeah. If it's a sprint booster, we'll just delete your email.
Software modification on whatever controller you're upgrading.
Yep. Okay. Rear rotor upgrade for non-electric parking brake MQB GTI. Has this been discussed? Anyone?
Yeah, it's just we got asked this once last week, and now once this week. It may be the same person. I don't know. Have not heard many people request.
There's not a lot of these cars out there, is there?
It's all the non-performance pack cars, the base model S cars.
I was gonna say ours is that.
Ours is a non-performance pack.
Also, our car does have.
It's a manual e-brake.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to look into it. So why don't we add it on there?
Sure.
Add it to the list.
Write that down.
Mark, yes. Plans for a Labor Day tuning sale? No, I don't think so. We will have a big upcoming sale that you may be able to surmise which one. But we recently lowered prices on B8 3.0T to industry rocking prices.
Yes.
And our MQB tunes are very competitive.
Yeah, and everything else is priced very competitively. So there will be sales in the future. So, like I said, if you can guess, you can guess. But nothing for Labor Day, and we're so busy right now, and we're trying to keep up with inventory and shipping orders. So a big blowout sale right now would just put us in worse position
Right.
for inventory. So, but we are we're in the best inventory position we've been in
Since
years.
we've ever tracked it.
Yeah. So we are 80% in stock of all of our products. So if you go on our website, it will show you which products are in stock. Generally, 8 out of 10 of them will be, and you can place your order. Anything that's in stock generally ships the same day or the next day. We're shipping really fast right now. We're in good shape for that. So ZTF 18-inch wheels for B8 forged or flow form colors. Yes. Well, no. 18-inch?
Yes.
Yes, no, maybe.
Are we doing 18-inch?
I've brought it up. Not in this first round.
I'd love
No.
some.
So we're thinking about 18-inch. We are doing 19-inch. Next year, we will release a 19-inch flow formed that will fit B8, B9.
We currently have forged.
We have the forged.
We have a forged
yeah.
one, yes, but they're asking about flow form. And then we will be bringing in a multitude of colors, at least 3 colors, maybe 4, depending.
I just read that comment. I'm just disappointed by the throttle body backorder. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. We sold so many of those, and
Yeah, so our SüperDüper charger is back ordered currently. We obviously have.
but if you want
parts coming
one, this is the way it works. If you want one, put your order in now, because if you wait, then you might just keep waiting, because what happens is we're out of stock, but we're selling them every day, and so those current orders are in order of when the order was placed.
Yeah.
So it's possible that when we finally start shipping, we could be 70, 80 back ordered. So those people will get it, and then we could run out again, and you'll never be in line. So there's a line, and you got to get in it. We will get to a point where they will just be in stock and on the shelf, but we're still selling tons of them, and we're out of stock. So this creates this dynamic where you got to get in queue, otherwise you could just keep waiting indefinitely. So yeah, sorry about that, but we're a victim of our own success on this one.
All right. He says his order was placed already. So
Okay,
he's
good.
in line.
All right.
Yep.
So you're in line, and
We're getting them.
I
we're getting it
think we're like
back out as quick as
a
we
month
can.
or so or less. I think that's what we talked about in our last meeting. So B8.5 2.0 T tuning, KO4 option, flex fuel, catch can.
We've talked about B8 catch can.
It's in the process.
Yeah.
Oh yes. The flex fuel catch can
Surge tank.
engineering's done.
Or
No, the breather can.
breather can. I'm sorry.
It's done. It's on our production car. It's just in manufacturing, so we should be able to release that soon.
My brain kept going to surge tank.
Yeah. KO4, yes, that is something we will be doing.
Yep.
And B8.5 2.0 T.
That's probably a good one. We should put a feeler out. Was like what KO4 kit is the most common out there. There's so many. Yeah, the CTOs.
We've
yeah,
got
that's what I was
that
thinking. Okay.
information.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, do we have a schedule that?
We talked about this. We've got a couple of other things we need to get done first.
I think we're looking at
the
like
B8.5 got moved a little
early
bit.
next year or
Yeah,
something.
we're
Yeah. Q1.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that far, but it's after some other projects.
Yeah, probably Q1, but hopefully more like January, not March.
Yeah. The flex fuel motor was much more limited. Obviously offering than the normal motor. So.
Yep. I see your teasers on AZ regarding 2-piece B9 S4 rotors. Will you be offering stock sizes or upgraded sizing? We will be offering stock sizes, and I don't think we were able to do an upgrade on that. We were looking at doing the RS5 rotor, but the problem is, calipers assume a certain diameter or arc to the rotor in which they interface, and when the rotor's smaller, you make it bigger. So then what happens is the rotor starts hitting the caliper.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think
you end up where you're hitting the caliper on the outside edge, and you're not sweeping the whole pad.
Yeah.
Your pad ends up higher than the lip of the edge of the rotor.
That's right. So they're just two different arcs that no longer line up with each other. The caliper again assumes a certain size rotor, a certain diameter, with a certain swept area and everything. So. On some models we've been able to, and others we haven't been able to, and I don't think we will be able to as long as we're using stock calipers. So we would have to do like an RS5 kit, basically. You know, and I believe all the RS5 parts should fit, but we have
to my knowledge they cross over. I don't know if there's a hub offset issue. Sometimes there is on those. That's the only thing that would pop out in my mind.
People swap in the S4 TDI brakes from Europe, which are RS5 brakes, designed specifically for the S4.
So there's probably a hub offset difference then. Yeah. So it may be like a combination of some TDI rotors with some RS5 calipers will probably be honest. I don't know. Well, yeah, we don't know off the top of our heads right now, but there's likely an OEM upgrade path.
Our rotor program is designed mostly to just, if you're going to replace your stock rotors, put something better with better aerodynamics, better airflow, better cooling, lighter.
Yeah. Asymmetric vanes if needed.
And they look cool. But yeah, the stock rotors are so freaking heavy. So yeah. And a lot of that weight's in the hub, and it doesn't need to be there. The hat, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going for the make a million of them, you know, as cheap and yet semi-functional as they need.
Do you recommend shifting into first gear when coming into a stop in a DSG manual transmission car? Why or why not? I would say in a manual transmission, I typically just go to neutral. I would rather change brake pads than clutches. So I would just go into neutral and slow the car down with the brakes. I know some people, they go, if they're in fourth, they go to third, second, first. You know, that's, I don't know. I mean, you can do it, but you're just putting more wear on the clutch. In a DSG car, I mean, you can do whatever you want. The DSG is gonna like.
It's totally up to you.
It's gonna.
I mean, it'll click down.
You're not gonna stall.
Some will hold second gear for a while. So if you just come to a stop and then roll immediately, you'll probably still be in second.
That's common.
That's pretty common. You know, depends on your car and how you're driving it. But no, if you're coming to a stoplight and you're going to sit there for like more than a second or two, it'll generally click down to first for you. You know, you don't need to blip through every gear unless you want to sound really cool.
It does sound cool.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
Especially with pops and bangs and snaps.
There was no extra qualification on that.
Yeah. B9 S4 crackle tunes for stage 1 and stage 2. I'm assuming they're looking for an ETA. Will you be offering one for stage 1 given it's the factory downpipe and not an aftermarket high flow unit? Is it safe for cats?
Yes to all those. Actually, as of this morning, we've got a new file that we're working on that is all that turned up and on and crackling away. So we're just got a couple more, you know, polishing efforts for this next round of updates we're doing.
Yep.
And but yeah, you'll have more and louder crackles again across all of our B9 files.
We love the crackles, guys.
Oh yeah.
All right. I've noticed Stavros has been hating on crackles and pops and bangs. A lot of memes coming that way. I don't know. I mean, like GT3 RSs have crackles. Ferraris and Lamborghinis and F1 cars have crackles. So I just, you know, and chicks love it. So.
Straight away from that.
We'll leave that one there.
I'm happy to dive right in. Have you guys considered support for DSC Sport magnetic ride controllers offering your own calibrations?
Yeah, you probably need to block that YouTuber.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm sorry, one more time? DSC Sport calibration?
The DSG thing we've been messing. We do have one, and we tried to use it, and there was an issue with it.
Yeah, we do have one.
Thankfully, they were supportive.
They were very upfront about it. So we had a unit, we put it in our TT.
Yeah,
it's somebody spamming YouTube.
Yeah, nice.
It appears it actually traced back to they had a manufacturer issue on a hardware component on the board. So we have not yet put the replacement back into our TT or our RS3 to test it. So don't have anything to offer there.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept. It's something we've been wanting to do for years, and now it looks like we can. So, lowering links for B9 SQ5 ETA. I know we're working on them soonish. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have an ETA, but
they're in development.
I believe the engineering is done, so they're probably. We're probably making them right now, so it's going to be a few more months. But no specific ETA right now. We have a whole line coming out for just about everything that you could want. So, update on B9 SQ5 intake, high flow cat, springs and sway bars.
All the things. Is this Nick?
There's a guy named Nick, not me.
Ah.
Yeah.
You're working your Delphi.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy, sneaky. The SQ5 intake is in manufacturing. I think we're looking at like October-ish. I think that's what was discussed. So possibly November. High flow cat is currently in development. No ETA yet. Springs are in development. No ETA. Sway bars are being manufactured. We will release the rear sway bar first, and then eventually a front sway bar. But just the rear sway bar it makes a nice improvement. We've track tested it.
Yes.
Moms love it. On the B9 platform, particularly the SQ5 platform, there has been an identified weak point in the rear axles.
Yep.
Any partnerships being thought about to offer upgrade there?
Yeah, we haven't typically offered axles or driveline products in quite some time.
I mean, we used to.
We used to.
We pioneered all the stuff for like the early chassis cars and the B5 stuff.
Yeah, those things broke axles if you looked at them weird. Thankfully, we've been kind of spoiled for a long time. That the OEM stuff is.
I know, even Daza shit's like insane.
For what they put up with,
like you can run 9s on stock axles.
which is completely. You couldn't run a 12 on like a 13 on
a
stock Audi, mid 90s axle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't really discussed.
We're not really in the axle business, but I'm sure Drive Shaft Shop will do something.
And they've done stuff. I mean, you can literally take stock axles, send it to them.
Yeah.
This is a service they've offered for years.
It's not cheap. You're gonna pay like $2,000.
Yep.
For whatever it is, but it would be good to understand too what's failing. And one issue on some of those Q cars is because they're higher. The axles could be in a different. They might not be long enough, or maybe a spacer could address it. I don't know what's failing about it. Is the shaft breaking?
I think it's right in the middle. The shaft is twisting.
Well, then that's just a shaft issue. So in that case, a shaft upgrade. I mean, who doesn't want a stronger, longer, harder shaft? A shaft upgrade could be in order. So it's just basically a replacing the drive shaft portion, which is currently probably a tube of some kind of steel, with basically a chromoly spring or a torsion bar, and so that gives the shaft resilience because it can actually twist instead of breaking or shearing. And that's typically out of some kind of heat-treated chromoly metal, 1018 of some kind. But, I mean, you probably can't make it longer. It's just going to have to be harder. Do you have thoughts and strategies on drivetrain limits for B9? Oh, this is the same one?
It's a different one. Little.
Having snapped an axle, is this something you guys are keeping in mind on launch on TC?
Yep.
Although I was on R888Rs on a prep surface, I'm aware the trans is stout, but what about the other components?
Yeah, and this is kind of where we are working on our advanced launch features for these platforms, and this is a tricky one, and this is why we have these features that we're bringing in. Is there's no one size fits all especially for launching because of the myriad of track surfaces, tire compounds, tires, wheel, power output. We will be offering a adjustable launch, system like we do on our B8
and we do take the shock to the driveline in account.
Of course.
In all the transmission tuning and shifting and everything, because you can make things shift really hard and fast if you want, and it's not necessarily what's good.
Yeah, but in these on launches, it's going to be just the amount of power or launch point that you're leaving at is going to be the biggest determinator there, and we will be making that adjustable.
Yeah, and snapping axles and drive shafts on a prepped drag surface is much more common.
Yeah.
Usually where it happens. I remember when Nate and I used to drag race my 80 TQ, it would break a front left axle every 1 to 2 launches.
Yeah.
And so we would just buy like 10 sets of axles, and thankfully Nate would just swap them out, and I would love doing it. I would maybe get one run in, and then I would snap it, And that was launching in second gear.
It was launching in second, and it was the whole chassis would twist,
Yeah.
and then it would kind of, just after it
It would
launched, it would set back down, and that
and
wheel
just snap
was
it.
spinning, and then would grab
Yeah.
on the prep.
And that was,
the
800
traction
horsepower,
column.
550 foot-pounds of torque. It was, I was running like 11s. flat.
Right, and these days it's like,
Which was really fast back
yeah, it doesn't
then.
mean much now.
Now you can do that on a stock anything. So, but yeah, on the street I could do a lot more launches, and it wasn't an issue.
yeah.
But on a
Yeah,
prepped surface,
your tire breaks free versus the axle. So
so hang in there. I believe that with our tuning release, we're taking performance in the B9 to a new level, and it's going to push everything forward.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot more power to come too.
yeah,
So,
there's a lot more coming. Yeah,
so it's exciting. I mean, I think many of us have been waiting since 2017 for 3.0T performance, and it's here now, and we're now starting to break stuff. So
Yeah.
this is how the process works. It's good. Is Stage 2 B9 SQ5 crackles more pronounced than Stage 1?
That's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Typically, they will be a little bit more
Because
pronounced
there's
because you're going to have
the
more.
race cap.
It depends. Yeah, what catalyst you're running.
Yeah,
is
or
going
a-
to affect that sound.
Test pipe, yeah.
Or yeah,
A racing test
whatever
pipe.
your race setup is.
Audi S3 8V, any new updates for Stage 1 ECU DSG software being released?
Yes, that is all mixed in with these. We're doing a bunch more hybrid turbo support for those. DSG, we may be doing some updates here and there as needed. I don't have a definitive list of updates for that right now. But yeah, ECU tuning, we're going to have a bunch more stuff. We'll be offering port injection updates. Flex fuel stuff will be coming. So quite a bit in the works for that.
What would you recommend first, your rear sway bar or dogbone insert package for a Stage 1 Golf R MQB? Why not both?
Yeah, that's a tough one to split. They're both
yeah.
kind of...
I would say if someone put a gun to my head, I would say sway bar, because it's typically the sway bar is one of the biggest.
Yeah.
For the price, especially, it's kind of like the chip tuning of the suspension.
Yep.
No compromise, doesn't really make the car ride stiffer, and it can really transform the handling and how the car just feels driving it. But the insert package is not very expensive either, and that has a huge impact on the car as well. So
They're two very different. The one's going to be your transition feel on your pedal. The other
Yeah.
is the transition feel on the wheel. So
Mhm.
they're both very very noticeable.
Yeah. But I would say do the sway bar first if
Yeah.
you have to pick, and then do the inserts. And then on that platform, our fixed camber mounts just completely transform the car
man,
as well. I mean, that extra camber just gives you so much more grip in the corners. I mean, it feels like if you just do that mod, it almost feels like you just put like R compound tires on the car.
Your on-ramp game will never be the same.
Yeah, it's amazing. It makes the car feel more like an Evo or something like that, which is a good thing. ETA on DQ 381.
Yeah, that's coming. We're rolling in some DQ 500 tunes, some updates. Yeah, we're working on them. I don't have an ETA to give right now. We're waiting on some development car stuff here.
SüperDüper updates for C7 A6 or B8 SQ5.
Yeah, those are hoses that we need to get. I think those are already.
They're
the
in
works.
engineering, but we don't have an ETA yet. You could we don't offer a kit without the hose.
Yeah.
No, we just have.
Oh, is it just it's the hose and the
We just have it
throttle?
without the
Use
throttle.
hose to,
on it.
like, modify it.
Yeah, you can cut out
Yeah.
the hose. And
You could-
but-
If somebody with either of these applications wants to, try to DIY and see what it would take to modify, I don't know. We haven't tried it, but we will be releasing a hose. But if you're in a hurry, you could take our hose and either modify it or just make a new hose out of some mandrel bends and silicone pieces. So. Anyways, no ETA on that.
Yep.
B9 RS5 tuning ETA for Stage 1.
That's one of the hotter irons we were talking about. Why the B8.5
Yeah, are we
2 liters
looking
will
at
be pushed.
what was that, October?
I think
November?
October-ish.
It's gonna be October, November time frame, and then the Stage 2 and hybrid stuff will follow.
Yeah.
But no ETAs on those. And who knows, once you release stage 1, then you end up supporting it, because once it's out in the wild, typically stuff shows up that you didn't, the light drivability type stuff shows up.
Yeah, there's usually some tweaks here and there.
Yeah, which is totally normal, part of the process. On a stage 2 Mark 7.5 Golf R, would the billet spherical dogbone mount by itself be enough, or do I need to upgrade the engine mounts as well?
Enough for what? We kind of need a little more.
Yeah, I mean, the dogbone mount will make a noticeable improvement, especially with the inserts and all that, all the parts that come with it. That will. So the dogbone specifically controls how the engine, loads back and forth,
right.
Fore and aft.
It limits the twist of the motor.
Yeah. But then you have this other stuff going on, which the motor and transmission mounts themselves, handle. And so if you just do the dogbone, you'll optimize that kind of twisting motion that the engine wants to do, but there will still be other compliance and bounciness of the engine if you don't upgrade the mounts. So I would suggest, at minimum, do our street density mounts. Those are like a nice street sport option, and then paired with the dogbone, that's a really nice setup. Let's see.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot
we
this
got
week.
piled in here.
I'm gonna go down a little bit. How does your throttle mapping differ from stock on your Mark 6 GTI tune?
Wait, what was that? How does your throttle mapping differ?
Throttle
from stock?
mapping. Right.
Generally, what you'll see is a much more linear pedal, especially in like sport modes, where a factory pedal map will kind of do this and plateau at like 40 to 60% pedal input. You're not going to notice any difference in power output, beyond like half pedal. We try and take that and expand it so that you actually are able to use your full pedal and get all that resolution back that you've lost. And it's some people love it, some people hate it. Apparently, some people like light switches for pedals, but that's the biggest change that you're gonna notice.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's slower or less. It's just we give you your pedal back to use to actually control your car.
With the new RS5 and the 034 stable and being track tested, can Javad and Nate chime in on early performance insights of this RS model in comparison to the S4 S5?
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah.
I mean, power wise and feel, I'd say feels like a stage 1 S4.
Yeah, this is the thing about the RS5, right? Like you can take an S4 and make it perform as good or better than a stock RS5
right.
with our products. But then the RS5 is starting at a much higher, point. So then once you start modding that, there's like, for example, the turbos on the RS5 just have a lot more flow.
Yep.
There's two smaller turbos, but they combine to flow for about 550, 600 horsepower, where the B9 S4 is more limited, in flow.
So there's a little higher potential from a starting point, and they can suck up more tire. They can, suspension
the
tunings,
tire is nice. I think how they drive is very similar. I don't think there's a big difference between the two cars. I think the RS5 looks really badass. It's a beautiful car. Looks great. It only has 4 seats. I have 4 kids, so I can't take them all at the same time. So that there's some differences like that, but I think you can make the S4 drive like the RS5, as good or better, So I think where the RS5 shines is the higher flowing turbo stock, and then there's just the styling and packaging, and you can get a coupe and then the tires. You can. I mean, we have 275s on it.
I think so.
Yeah. I think you could even go
factory,
wider. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yep.
But they both drive great. They're both awesome, fun cars on track and on the street. They're awesome. RS5 has bigger brakes too, so that's good. Daz a 4-inch inlet ETA. Any plans for stage 3? So we are doing a TTE710 tune or 700?
700.
700.
Correct.
So we will have a stage 3 option for that.
Yep.
The inlet is, I believe, on its way here. I think the casting is done,
Yeah,
so
we
it
got
could be
the
like a month or two.
I saw the first articles.
Wait, we verified the first production run articles, and they fit good. Everything's good. Again, if you're in the market for one, I suggest waiting till we release ours. We're going to offer an exceptional price on it, and it's a really nice unit. It has inserts for all the drop-in hybrid options on the market. A lot of questions. Holy mackerel!
I'd start at the top. We've been prioritizing them that way.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's stay away from that.
Yeah, it's all
you know.
speculation.
Some of these questions are like people just speculating, and then by even answering it, we're putting it out there and making it seem like it's a thing, and I don't want to do that.
We don't like best guessing. I mean, obviously we'll try and offer our inputs on things, but it's if we don't have hard data to go around any of it, it's tough to answer.
Someone says, how does it feel to actually make EPL come out with a light tune to compete? We saw that. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I think from there, if we're playing, Monopoly, it's a good response from them. And we talked about it. I don't think it makes sense for us because we're offering
you get
a full-featured product.
It's still less, I believe. Our package is still less,
Just
and you
about the
get
same price for us.
all the octanes.
So you get
all of the future support, all the
get-
features that
yeah.
are coming with no additional cost. So
So it wasn't even. I mean, it makes sense why they're doing it, but the additional octanes, I mean, they don't cost you more money. So for us, it's like if you're gonna buy into our product and our tuning experience, let's give you 91, 93, E85. Let's give you everything.
well, and also
in
with
the
these
stock
octanes, it's tough too. You gotta consider, what if you're traveling out of state and you're on a
Yeah.
93 file and you can only get 91? Well, am I gonna have to flash back to stock, or do I have to pay my tuner some more money so I can travel across the country? Like,
It's the best experience.
It's tough. So we want to make sure you have everything we have available
Yeah.
to you. If situation changes and you need to move, or you've got a long trip ahead and you need to change what fuel you're running.
But I mean, it makes sense from their point of view because they're offering a cheaper option to compete, and if it's cheaper than their normal price, and I guess if you want more octanes, you got to buy those.
I think it's per octane or something.
Yeah,
And you have to pay more money?
You can choose to start out with the light, or you can add more octanes as time goes on, or get the full suite of features like any other normal tune with more added cost. So
Yeah.
they're just trying to offer a single stage tune for one octane, if that's what you want to do. But the price point is so close to what ours already
Yeah.
is that it's kind of...
It really doesn't make sense. It's kind of like they're taking an a la carte approach, and it's like when you go to McDonald's, the meal is $8, but if you buy all the stuff separately, it's like $12, And so we're offering the whole meal because it's the best experience, We want you to have all the tunes, we want you to have all the files, we want you to have the stock file. We don't know what kind of fuel you're going to run into, so we're giving you everything, and it's the best experience. And again, it's a very competitive price. So.
And it lets you experience these other, hey, I've only got access to, E85 or E85 is tricky to get, but I want to see what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Run the tank empty, fill it up with the 85, make your switch like we recommend, give it a try.
Yeah. Have you heard about sport diffs on B9 RS5s breaking on launch? Any upgrades in the works? I think I've maybe heard about one. I don't know.
Yeah, I can.
I've heard about one instance where I think it was on RS6, but that motor can produce crazy amounts of torque, and the tuning company that did it they pushed the torque way too high and it shattered.
No, that's front diff.
The front
He's talking
diff.
about rear diff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's the only thing I've really heard.
Yeah,
of.
and again, the tuning on these platforms and the actual, putting the power down and making these things quick is very young still.
Yeah.
So we're going to be finding more of these fuses
Yeah.
soon. And this is one thing I was kind of in the back of my head when we were talking axles earlier, is the axle being the weak link isn't necessarily a bad thing
Right.
sometimes. So
Yeah, that's true.
as you strengthen the driveline components, you're just going to find the next fuse in the driveline.
Yep. There's always the next weakest link. So. And sometimes the one that's failing is the best one to fail. G80 M3 platform. Will you be doing anything for these? Yes, we will in the future. Initially, we're focusing on the 340,
The F series stuff.
the F series stuff. So, but we will work our way up to the newer stuff, probably starting next year. Do we want to get into this logging definitions?
Somebody's asking, do you have a rundown of logging variable definitions for your logger? Our logger, as we provide it, is typically for support purposes. That said, ours is a very full-featured set right now. If you want some more information on it, you can literally click select variables, and there's a explanation as to what every variable is there. It'll give you a rundown of, in English, what each of those is. I mean, again, this depends on the vehicle, but if we're talking B8 S4, which is the most common on these, you'll have a definition of what each of those is.
ETA on B9.5 tune, will there be crackles? Seems Audi deadened the pops and crackles on the facelift.
Yep. Actually, I think Nick put up a video. Did you get a video of that when we were dynoing it?
He did.
The B9.5?
Not one that we can post.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But yes, no, they'll have some good crackles. We know you guys like them.
Mm-hmm. And do we have an ETA or?
Not currently on we're waiting on some flashing tech stuff.
Yeah.
We're working on.
Yeah, there's the calibration, and then there's the server flashing your car. So we're working on both simultaneously.
Yep.
But currently the holdup is the server,
Yep.
and that's being worked on. I understand as a top priority right
Yep.
now. On the B8.5 S4, is it possible to tune the throttle damping back into the ECU solely for comfort mode? So in comfort mode. So I wanted to follow up because we addressed this about
So
a
many
month
people
ago.
are mentioning this, and it's.
But
I think
there's been two cars here.
Yeah.
They were both stage 2 cars, and I drove them.
B8.5 or B8.
B8.
They were B8.
So I think the B8.5. It's.
I could not
There
notice
appears to
anything.
be more people mentioning that a B8.5 is.
So what's the
more-
difference?
It's very little in the actual
I mean,
tuning.
on the
so-
B8, it was fine. I did not hear any clunking. And this particular one of the cars I drove had like a failed shock in the front, so it was making all kinds of noise there. But like the way the car drove was smooth, and there was the drivetrain lash issue wasn't even a problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd like to actually experience it, like to the degree that some people are saying.
But I mean, it's literally the same file that's on Sonu's car, that's on Gary's.
I drove
SQ5,
that.
That's on.
I drove Sonu's car. It drove
So,
beautifully. I mean, it was perfect.
It seems to be affecting some more than others.
Wait,
so.
is his car a B8?
A B8.5. ECU.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I drove Sonu's. This was
Well,
perfect.
SQ5
So it's Gary's.
is the F8, not DSG. There might
Right.
be a little more.
So
but
we'll
the
take a
complaints
look.
have been on S4s.
Yes.
Broadly.
Yeah.
So I haven't experienced, supposedly the clunking and the. I mean, it's not abrupt. It's what I would expect.
Right.
It's optimized and refined, and it's more aggressive than stock, which is really dampened.
Yeah. We will have coming out, and I think the question I wiped it out here, but I think that was a stage 1 related question. We are also going to have a certified file that you're going to see on the portals soon.
Yeah.
Those do retain all of the stock damping for
Yeah. So people can always
emissions
run that.
reasons. So yes, there will be that file available.
And
as well.
if you've bought our file, you'll have access.
full
to
access to that. Yeah. Oh, hold on. We gotta follow. There we go.
And there's a follow-up. Someone said, in response to EPL Lite, yeah, I had to pay for each EPL tune in the past. The price was not that big of an issue. The real issue was them requiring us to send them multiple logs before deeming it ready for you to use it.
Okay.
So they're requiring logs. Pure750 plus TTE710 tune ETA for B9 S4 for the B9 S4 Stage 3. Since 034 is testing 2 SüperDüpers, are you looking to have 2 different price points, power levels?
I mean, the power level is going to be whatever the turbo is. We can feasibly make with the turbo in our.
The
strategies.
goal is for us to have broad Stage 3 tuning support for this platform. So whether you decide on the 750 or the 710, we'll have support for it.
Yeah, and you can look at the way we did the B8 too. If you're, we want to support as much of, and provide as much of a, holistic calibration suite as you can get.
Right.
So the B8, we support every throttle body on the market. We support every pulley combo on the market.
Yep.
And, we're not nickel and diming for any of them. You buy a 2 Plus, you can run any of those throttle bodies or files. So,
Yeah.
We're probably going to be doing something similar for the B9. As far as price points and things, I wouldn't guess that they'd be different off the top of my head. That's probably going to be.
No, the tuning.
You buy into the stage 3 or whatever software level, and that'll get you whatever turbo you've got.
Yeah, I don't think we have a real strict ETA. Our focus right now is B9.5.
Yep.
Stage 2. And some of the updates.
Updates are coming hot and heavy. Those are going to be pretty soon, and then also RS5 push.
Yeah, and RS5 stuff. But we have all these upgrade turbos here, and they are. I'm guessing probably maybe Q1 next year possibly we could have some of those other options out, but
I would hope a little sooner for some of it, but tough to promise because we like to we're working on it as quick as we can. We want to.
I mean, there's been like 10 different tuning priorities brought up just in these questions alone. So, any E-blends for 8V S3? Not yet.
Coming. That's part of what we're working on with all this new. It's coming along with this hybrid tuning and MPI support, multi-port injection. So.
Our high-pressure fuel pumps known for going bad. Customer has a B8.5 S5 and it keeps stalling. He has a P0087 code.
A lot of the issues I've seen with high pressure pumps are the installation, where people are tearing the seal. There's another secondary seal that actually seals the low pressure side of the high pressure pump. It's still the full output from your low pressure pump. So we're talking like 5 to 7 bar of fuel pressure. But there's a seal around the piston that can get compromised pretty easily if you're doing a piston install, and that's caught a number of people out. They'll tear it, or it'll get somehow just the seal's worn out or whatever, and you'll get some fuel leaking either into the crankcase. That's where it goes.
Be really careful with that.
And you can lose pressure, at the pump as well. So I would certainly investigate why it should not be stalling. There should not be any issues. And we've seen a number of these pumps just age out and fail too. The metering valves can get old and problematic. So, they're not that expensive of a pump. I think a new OEM pump's like $300. I don't think they're that bad.
No, I don't think they are. Yeah. But definitely check immediately, and you may want to just pull the whole thing out and look to see if looks like it's washed down in that area. Yeah, and we had a customer with an engine failure. From that.
It was literally just like a full low pressure fuel pump output into the crankcase.
He filled his crankcase with gas and lost all lubrication on his bearings. Someone's asking about 4.0T engine mount ETA. They are in manufacturing. I don't know. So the good news is we're done testing and they're now being made. I think they're gonna be a couple months out. Hopefully by the end of the year. We'd like to release them ASAP, but global supply chains are backed up right now, and we're doing our best to manage it. But overall it just means everything's delayed, everything's slower. When will you be releasing Dyno Fumes Fragrance? That's good. We should. My watch is telling me it's time to stand.
Oh, good. You should get on that.
You should link to my
the Motor Geek post.
Yeah. That's basically the.
There is an essence of dyno that does exist,
and it can permeate all areas.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can end on something interesting. What's the biggest highlights in both your careers? I'd like to hear Nate's answer to this.
Biggest highlight? Honestly, I'd say it's right now. This year has kind of been pretty revolutionary, and it's the capabilities that we have right now for calibration and the team we have is very exciting. I mean, it's basically just how much time can we spend, and we can do whatever we want right now. So it's super exciting for me. We can literally pick a target and put people on it, and we all know how to do it. We know how to accomplish it. So there's very little we can't do right now. It's just a matter of prioritization, as you're seeing here. We're constantly shuffling what we can do, or what we need to focus on first. But there's no black boxes right now. We know how to do it all. It's just a matter of
it's really exciting. No, that's good.
Pointing our work effort at it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think now is the most exciting time in my career. Of course, we've had lots of exciting moments, but I think in the past for me, doing 034 Motorsport was more about getting experiences. I wanted to build a race car. I wanted to race it in SCCA. I wanted to race in Grand Am. I wanted to drive a race car at Pikes Peak. I wanted to go to magazine shootouts and win those. I wanted to go 13 seconds, 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds. I wanted to make 500, 600, 700, 800, 1,000 horsepower. Then we won the 25 Hours of Thunder Hill. That was a highlight. But the company was always, kind of a secondary. It was like a vehicle for those experiences. And I think about 5-6 years ago is, for me, when I switched gears of, I want to create a world-class company. And you can see this in other tuning companies, certain people who are going on Hoonigan and racing and trying to, beat different cars, but then everyone's like, hey, when are you going to answer my emails? And so, we really shifted gears, and I want customers to have the best experience. I want our products to be the best they can be. I want to, release products that push the industry forward and offer customers new experiences they've never had, like our B9 tuning, to Nate's point. And I think selling 034 Motorsport and being connected to a bigger company with more financial resources has really allowed us to make these investments. And now we are living out our dreams every day, not through the races that we're doing and the quarter miles that we're doing and the cars that we're driving or even the cars that we're building. Yeah. It's the products and the people we're hiring and the products we're releasing and the distribution channels.
Yeah, and the cars and the racing are all part of that, but now we're able to do it right, and we're able to do it in
But all that stuff now is underneath the umbrella of building and creating a world-class company. Right. And sure, we're gonna promote our products and services through drag racing and through racing and all that stuff. But the goal is the top line. Can 034 Motorsport be the best tuning company ever in this industry? And I've been working in this industry since the mid-90s, so I'm familiar with the industry. And I think for a long time people looked up to APR as that company that set the standard for our industry and set an engineering standard, a quality and performance standard. But I think we're living out that reality with the products and services that we're creating, and I don't see APR leading anymore. It's companies like us that are trying to step up and take that new position. So this is definitely the most exciting time in my career right now, for sure. And just simply based on the things we're getting to do, the people we're getting to work with, the teams we've been able to build. That's always been a dream of mine, to build incredible engineering teams to create incredible products.
Yeah, and it's interesting how much it changes too. Like I wouldn't have thought I'm excited to drop off another vehicle for emissions certification. But now it's like, hey, that's a pretty cool.
We have 2 executive orders from CARB. That's a dream come true, right?
We've got more coming down the pipeline. We're in this loop now where we're just pushing more and more vehicles down there for testing. That's exciting. We're able to do this at a and provide an OEM certified, tested, validated set of products, software and hardware. So.
Yeah. So and then seeing the response from customers, the positive feedback, happy customers. Yeah. That's kind of what brings it all together. At the end, we know all this stuff's working because you guys are happy and there's enthusiasm out there.
You're excited. You're smashing records. Yeah. You're we're helping to make the car more what you always wanted.
Yeah. All right, and we have a few minutes left. Let's see. Any new products for 8V.5 RS3? We have some engine catch cans.
The 4-inch intake's coming. The 4-inch inlet, the turbo.
The 4-inch turbo inlet. We have a 4-inch intake already, which actually we reduced the price recently. If you're interested,
we'll have some hybrid tunes coming.
Hybrid tunes, updated.
Yep.
Dazza tunes.
Some Dazza tunes, some DQ500 transmission tuning updates are coming.
Fuel surge tank.
Advanced launch stuff is in the works. That's most of the way done.
The fuel surge tank.
Yep, fuel surge tank's coming.
Will be released.
There's a lot.
To go with this last question.
Integrated Engineering and EPL are both claiming that full E85 is less powerful than E40 on stock turbo B9 3.0T, as you have to turn down the boost in the mid-range on full ethanol. What do you say?
Yep, you do have
you have to turn.
You have to turn the boost down.
You have to control the boost
because of your you know, the amount of fuel you can provide is limited. But you gain that back with, you know, a little more timing. And I, honestly, like, these turbos are making so much heat already. There's not, if you guys are so worried about that, why aren't you making the amount of torque we're making? Like, that's kind of what I have to say there.
Look
like,
at the power figures.
We're already putting out more than, you know, everyone else on the market. So yeah, there's just the amount of boost you're running doesn't always equate to the amount of power you're running.
No, and I think that's the fallacy here, is boost is not directly correlated to horsepower. Ignition timing is a better indicator.
Well, there's a pile of other things.
Yeah,
These
there's
motors,
lots
it's
of other
ignition
things.
timing, cam timing, injection timing. There's, you know, you've got so much control over the rest of the motor that.
But what they're saying is assuming that if you can run 4 more psi of boost,
Right.
you'll make more power, and
Right.
that's just ridiculous, because if you can't support with ignition timing, then it doesn't matter. You're just making more heat.
Yeah.
Raising your EGTs, you're not making more power, and it actually could be unsafe. So we're lowering the boost, we're adding more timing, and we're making more power. So I don't know, you know, what it's based on.
Right.
But you know, I mean, people say all kinds of stuff. So thank you for asking us and letting us respond to it.
Yep. Yeah, we went back and forth with this a lot in the B8 world too. It's like ex-tuners. Oh, look, they're somehow making 28 pounds of boost. It's like
in B5s, this used to
you're
be.
on a supercharger. You're not making any more boost than anybody
Yeah.
else. They're logging the wrong thing, or you've got a huge restriction somewhere that's making the thing, you know, just fill the motor with air and not get it out the tailpipe.
I remember B5 Stage 3, people were running 30 PSI on KO4s. And it's like, you
Because
can make
just-
more power with 24
Yeah,
PSI.
just because you can run more doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's better. So,
Yeah.
you know, that, yeah. Sure, maybe you could run some more boost in E40. We haven't found a reason to. It's a lot easier to fill up an E85. You can do it.
Yeah, much easier if you can just pump in E85. That's
Yep.
the way to go. All right, well, I think we have another minute.
Yeah, barely. It's like,
Yeah.
we're pretty much at the end of it here. What do we got a quick one?
No, these are all.
Advanced launch.
Oh yeah, someone says, how do we know what EPL's power figures are? They don't even have a website.
And this is another.
You're right,
We
yeah.
come back to this.
Which blows my mind
It's
that
tough that's our.
they offer a competing product without even a website. So, but I hear if you Snapchat them, you can get all the figures. So, or
It's
was
tough.
it?
Yeah, you got to like track them down on various forums or social media to
Yeah.
figure out. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
or maybe it's WhatsApp, I forget, WeChat.
I guess they're busy enough. They don't need more.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you next week. I believe. I don't think there's. any
It's
reason.
Labor Day.
Oh, and Monday's Labor Day, so maybe we'll do Tuesday next week, since we are closed. And hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your week and the long weekend if you have it.
Yep.
We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
All right.